Good day, everyone. I am Lovely D. Binabay, and I am here to discuss or synthesize the lesson for which is the communication in multicultural context. So, what is multicultural context? Multicultural context is a cultural diversity of people or individual that operates or sharing their tradition, culture, belief, and their action to the other people or the foreign culture. Under multicultural context, we have a cultural sensitivity, which it is refers to the awareness of people or individual on the different culture that we have. We have a developmental model of cultural sensitivity, where people experience this kind of stages in our daily lives, or people who socialize with different um, culture. We have 6 stages or the developmental model of cultural sensitivity. This is the process on how you develop your awareness or your cultural sensitivity. So the first stages is the denial stage. I actually happened to meet this kind of stage, because back then and when I was grade school, I thought um, I thought all human are all the same tradition or belief in life. And I only recognize that if we are all human, we should also the same tradition as well and aspect in life. So, and the second stage is the defense stage. My experience with this is when I was high school. Mom, my teacher discussed about the African culture, which their culture is uh, they do a tradition of circumcision for women. So I'm kind of intimidate their kinds of culture, because it's so weird, because in my culture um, um, men are do that circumcision. So I'm being judgmental to their culture, because I think it's so or not a good behavior or tradition, because I always compare my culture to them. So I always depend that my culture is better than them. So to be specific, you see your culture as a good way, while you see other culture in negative way, because you didn't experience what kind of culture they have. So in the third stage, we have minimization. So in this stage, you're starting to coping up or minimize your negative perspectives to other cultures, or instead you categorize them as different than us. You'll be more generalize them as a whole or as the same, because after all we all human, and you try to see them as the same as us, but you still believe only on your bel- uh, you still believe on your own tradition and cultures. Fourth stage, which is the acceptance. It is the most for me, it is the most important stages in our lives in cultural sensitivity, because it will help everyone and every culture to be free in discrimination, because this stage is you starting to be more mindful of what you think the others, why on why they did or practice that kind of culture that they have, and you can easily understand their day-to-day living uh, on their own cultures, and you can understand and accept the flows of cultural diversity in this country without uh, negative thinking or perspective to them. In the 5 stages of cultural sensitivity, um, we have adaptation. In this stage, it is not only the acceptance of laws in cultural diversity, but it is also but also the adaptation is in there, where you are in the curiosity of what was the life what was the life of this country or their culture, um, or you want or need to experience their culture because of your personal reason, like when you are going to migrate to other country. Of course, you should able to practice their what culture they have, accordance to be um, respect to the country. So in the final stage in cultural sensitivity, we have integration. In this stage, you are uh, completely develop your cultural sensitivity, because you are being aware already of what's happening in the cultural diversity. You already adjust your own culture to the other culture, and you know how you communicate with other foreign cultures with respect, and how you judge them in a good way. Multicultural context, it also involves the um, um, bias language, which is the gender bias or the sexist language. So it, it is important in communication to use appropriate language or word to the person that we are talking to avoid misunderstanding or interpretation with, of conversation. So therefore, I conclude that in all aspects in life, communication is very, very important, especially in this multicultural context, because communication communication will help us to to share, to connect ideas, to explain what we are want to say, what or what we try to convey message. It will help to make the things right, because I think without communication, um, we only base we will only base of what we see than what we think.